What's going on, everybody? 7:07 p.m. Mountain Time, Sunday, November 3rd, 2019. Hope everybody's having a good evening. What up, world? What up, USA? 80s babies, stand up. Woo woo. It's the 80s babies call. Man, you guys do me a favor, like and share this, man. I'm getting some feedback. I appreciate all the feedback. Also, man, I've got some made some networking connects with some people, and I'll be having some guests here pretty soon. Random too, and we're gonna get deep, man. Kind of want to use this time just to do a recap and do some nation building. I think that no matter who the listener is, allow me to please motivate you into really doing some nation building. It's kind of hard to really talk about it, but it's such a deep topic, with regards to nation building. You'll always hear a lot of black people talking about their nation, and it's really the only outspoken race, about race issues. Every time you turn around, there's a black person on TV talking about a race issue. And we just can't help but to look back and kind of be like, why is always there's a nigga on the TV complaining? Crying about somebody got shot. Because they in some sketchy situations already. So we doing a lot of complaining, man. And the world is like, man, why they always tripping? It's deep, man. There's a lot to it. I know as part of a true journey of self-awareness and self-reflection, self-identifying who you are, what your purpose is on a spiritual level, to seek and find and know who you are and what your purpose is, you'll find out and run into little questions, not only about yourself, but from your nation to which matches your roots. With me, I had to look deeper, and I was a little bit more confused than most because I'm a descendant of someone that was a slave. There's a lot of great-great-grandfather stories that are business owners or creators of this, started this franchise. Mine goes back to, I stem from someone that was beat maybe 12 hours a day because whatever. Or he had to work 18 hours a day, got paid maybe a nickel. You look and you run into a dead end about, I've done some research to where at one point there was half my family was Pharaoh and then the other half was Fennel. And then I've got to go both ways now. Now I got to look in the Pharaoh part of everything. Tennessee was a good deep, I think it was deep in slavery, and Alabama and Arkansas. It's real, man. And I'll tell you, America, there's a lot of bitterness and a lot of broken, lost individuals. And you look at the incarceration numbers, you'll see. You look at the numbers of kids that grow up with their fathers, you'll see. That's all stemming from slavery and oppression. Hands down. There's no other way of explaining it. It is a mind-made. It's embedded in DNA from that long journey from Africa to all these different stops. And whatever black ones made it here, they made it here. And they went through a lot. They've been, and I stem from that. I'm not on no beef. I'm not mad because of that. That honestly makes me proud and It makes me proud to know that, and everyone comes from a certain background to where their family and their culture and their heritage has made a mark on this planet. And it must continue. That's my argument. It's so divine, people. It's so beautiful that this country has been built up to that. Like, think about the founding fathers. Like, they come up with these laws and these bills, and like, if it came from nowhere, where the hell did it come from? You know what I'm saying? Like, these group of guys, they met, they got together, they talked about it, regardless of what their beliefs were on other avenues, and we're here now. We're to this point now where we're talking on a cell phone, recording a podcast, putting on the internet, based off of what they allow God to use them for. That was all God's work. Can't tell me that was no work. And I'm not even going to bring up the devil because that's a different topic, but that's all divine. All that information that came to their head was all an inspiration because it wasn't in their head at any point. It came as a thought. Wow, what an idea. Put it together. They were able to humbly put their differences aside. And here we are in America. Freed in the mother. But on that journey of self-identification, self-awareness, and knowing who you are, you get to that layer. Where's my tribe? What's my tribe look like? Why? That's real. It's a real thing. I think unless we kind of look at that, especially me specifically talking as a black man in America, descendant of American slave, I believe that NAACP and all these other programs and all these other people talking has missed the mark. And you can see it in the incarceration numbers. You can see it in the single-parent home numbers. You can see it in the high school dropout numbers. How do we rebuild? How do we establish a true nation and build from there? I'm talking nation creed. We need to be sustainable as a nation. We have come way too far to be forgotten and only remembered as the people that were slaves, the people that helped build this country, and they end up killing themselves off. In a book somewhere, if humanity continues. It's almost a fatalistic approach and mindset. Because the peers that I talk to are dead to that actuality and fact. And I'm not speaking any segregation, I'm not speaking any hate. If you're from a different nation, it's just as important for you to rally your nation just as it is for me. We're in a moment where we're transitioning from the baby boomers' leadership to our generation of leadership, 80s babies, millenniums, Gen Y. Our country can completely tank from where we're at now if there's no true conversation of actually what it is, from the streets of Podunk, Oklahoma to the executive board of New York City. There's really no reason not to bridge those gaps through the means of communication via telephone, cell phone, internet, social media. There's really no excuse. And it's really a challenge also to the baby boomers. What kind of legacy are you going to leave behind, and will your legacy be continued? It's like living your whole life. You're reflecting on the actuality of death. You got about 5 more summers left. A good portion of our society is going into retirement. We look at the average living age. A good portion of those entering retirement are going to die off all at one time, leaving us a young nation. 55 years will be the average age of leadership. Look it up. Look it up. I'm coming from a road of addiction and just complete chaos. And being awake to the wrongs I've done and living a life to want to right those wrongs and to add and be a positive impact to society is my goal and my effort. And I think that a lot of people feel the same way. And it's fair. Righteous is gangsta. It is a group of people that feel that the world needs love and in all means necessary. Through Christ, through Creator, through God, through a higher power. That's what it is. We're all approaching this as a group, as a generation, essentially. If we break down what's all in that generation, you know what I mean? Then you'll see the individual tribes. And then there's the individual. Our reactions affect the whole tribe. And so we really need to pay attention to the actuality. We settle on, well, everybody's got their own opinion. But then we'll categorize as a collective consciousness the people that share that same opinion. Why do we want to run from what's right and wrong and settle on that argument? Well, everybody's got their own opinion. Why has it got to be left or right? But since this is America, we need to hold on to America's values. There was a point, acts of criminal behavior towards humanity during the acts of slavery. That's over and done with, but the rebuilding process takes a mental focus approach. It's a mental rehabilitation just as well as it is a tangible rehabilitation. You look at the data. The data will tell you exactly what it is. The wealth income gap, incarceration, the drug addiction, the jobless, the one-parent homes. That all plays an effect on a lot of American descendant of American slaves. Those individuals within those numbers are descendants of American slaves. Their mindsets, our mindsets, have developed in a less favorable for self. Point blank, period. I've got a book for you guys to look up. Please read this book. It's America's Little Black Book, and it's by Norris Shelton. America's Little Black Book. Deep, factual book. And it has no hatred in it whatsoever. It's giving those that want to seek and to identify who self is. It's giving those that are on that journey a direction. The Holy Bible is a direction for some. The Quran. This is for descendant of American slaves. This is that journey Bible. This is that journey Bible. And please look it up. White, Hispanic. If you love, well, I'm not even going to challenge you on that because it's not fair. Just to know and see what it is I'm saying. Just look it up, and it doesn't speak any hatred or anything. It brings about the history of the trade, how important that business was, the slave trade was, to not only the Africans but also the Americans. How unlawful it was, and then how, the slavery changed from the physical part to the mental part. Those are all conditions that you can see in the data. And It's not to complain, it's to know where you're at and how to build and where to build from. It doesn't excuse the misbehavior, and doesn't excuse the not being there as a father. It doesn't excuse the gang activity, the criminal activity. It doesn't excuse none of that. Although that is a means, that is a means because of the effects of being incarcerated. Hustling is a means and it's because of the effects of being incarcerated. I've ran into countless of people, and I've got documented proof of a discussion I had with a lady that had been on a job for a couple weeks while she was going throughout the hiring process. The insurance company notifies the employer that she couldn't be employed there. Time after time, hiring, applying, working, and this was a lady of not color. She was a white lady, and it affects everyone whenever you have that. But when you have layers on layers of things against you, hustling becomes a means. But there's a way to flip it, man. And I think the government owes it to a good portion of those that are impoverished in inner cities. The United States government owes it, in my opinion. But I feel like it should be in a structured way that the United States will benefit from it. Beneficial investments, urban inner city investments. That's for another topic. But it's deep, man. If you know anybody black, please share this with them, man. If anybody's even listening to this. But there's no reason to change a flag. I believe having an additional flag with additional logos, but the red, white, and blue with the stars, that should never be changed. There's talks of really branding the tribe, and talks of people saying change the flag, and no. We don't need a different constitution. We're American. Point blank period. That didn't change nothing. We love this country just as much as anybody, if not more. And it should be a duty to love this country. All right, I don't care what you do, gang member, whatever. It should be your duty to represent this country. We have way too much bloodshed to shit on this country and not represent it. So, from the person that have got some beef with this country, to these little camps are set up to want to bring harm to this country, to the richest man in this country, to the brokest person in this country, to the gang member of this country, to the whatever of this country. Be proud of it, man. Stop playing around. Especially if you're an 80s baby. We've seen that part of history when fools didn't like this country and they started flying planes into the buildings. That shit old. I don't care if you black, Chinese, white, whatever. If you be vigilante, be a vigilante when it comes to shit like that. I don't know if I'm using the word right, but stand up for your nation and quit playing. Especially if you're new to this country, we love you. If we in your way, that's just how we are. If we rude to you, we just rude. Welcome to America, but don't blow our shit up. Don't come over here getting mad because we got open religion and everybody can be free to their religion. We're not finna stick to your religion. We're not finna just stick to one religion. If you want to be a devil worshiper, you can do that in America, but keep that shit over there. We want to make these changes, especially we want to impact kids. But we're people that want to impact kids that have no love for America. When we impact kids, we need to teach them to have love for their freaking nation. So coaches, I challenge you. You need to figure out a way to put teaching kids to love their nation as part of your coaching philosophy. We need to breed more athletes that love this nation no matter where they're from. This is the nation where they can break bread and send back to their country. That's free. And we need to create more opportunity to feeling free. Y'all playing though. Y'all give me some money. I'll show you how to do that thing. Give me some money. I'm not begging for it. I'm just telling you because people are like, well, why you won't do something? Because I'm broke right now. I was smoking meth not too long ago. But I'm on my high horse and I ain't getting off my horse. Not getting off my horse. I woke up sober looking around. I'm like, what have y'all been doing this whole time? What have you guys been doing this whole time? Go clean your room. And if you've never been addicted to a drug, if being judged is one thing. It's just because you know they're right, and you're like, damn, get on my ass, but they're right. I get it. It's like, what are you doing? Why are you running around smoking this shit? You got your family at home, taking from your family for this. So now I'm sober. I'm like, what? We gotta make sure humanity continues. Right now, we get this thing called global warming. We don't know nothing about it, and nobody's tripping. Wake up, people. Boy, if you don't get off that damn phone. There go Granny Daddy. Get off the phone, grandson. Right now. Get off the phone. A lot of what we need to do takes a lot of inward change, a lot of inward reflection. We got a lot of bitter haters out there. There's so many people out there that are so bitter. I myself are bitter in certain situations. I find that bitterness, man, and I try to address it inwardly and stop it. There's not a lot of people that are willing to do that. There's a lot of us that are worried about the next man. Well, not even necessarily that. It's just, I'm not even really going to, let's not talk about that right now. Let's figure out ways, though, in my opinion, to better communicate with one another. I mean, I think that's so key with any relationship building process or any relationship building effort is being able to effectively communicate, being able to handle hard truths. All that takes a boss to look. I'm out.